traders, Julius here. I hope you all had a very good weekend and want to start off this week with a quick look at what's happening in the markets. And for today I want to look at the international rotations. We usually look at sectors or themed or segment rotations, but you can also use RRGs to look at what's happening on an international scale. And for that purpose I've loaded up two RRGs, weekly on the left, daily on the right, that shows the rotation of a group of international stock market indices against the MSCI World, ACWI, that's the developed world, MSCI World for Developed Markets. And a few things that are interesting observations. First of all, this is the Nikkei, it's Japan. Here's the New York Fang Index. Here's the S&P. Here's the NASDAQ. They're all rotating out of favor. Here's the Dow Jones. So I think it's pretty safe to say that the US markets, compare like S&P, NASDAQ, New York Fang, Dow Jones, they're all rotating out. And then we've got the Nikkei Index that is following that route. On the other side, we have the Nifty picking up, we've got Australia picking up, we've got Europe picking up, we've got the DAX picking up, as well as the CAC, although they are kind of starting to roll over here. But in the bigger picture, you can see that money's moving out of the US into other markets. But the most interesting tales here are for the FTSE and the Hang Seng. And the Hang Seng Index is a market that I've been tracking for quite a while now, because it was a dog. It was a market that, you know, it was going down, 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 didn't matter. Whatever anything else in the world was doing, the Hong Kong market was going down. And that seems to be changing right now, especially on a relative picture, but I'll show you the price chart in a minute. And I hope you agree that there is quite a development going on there. To a degree, it's the same for the FTSE in the UK, but it's not as clear as the Hang Seng, and you can see that when we bring up the daily RRG, because here you can see how the Hang Seng is really standing out with that push into the leading quadrant. Very strong move for the Hong Kong market, and you can see how the FTSE has already rolled over. But again, here now also European markets rolling over, Nifty, Dow Jones, and here you can see how it's the FANG index, the New York FANG, MAC 7, NASDAQ, whatever you want to call it, are slowly starting to pick up. It's not fantastic yet, but there's a pickup here. And so is there for the S&P. Again, this is daily, so it's only one day that we see this happening. So it'll probably take a little bit more time. But the Hang Seng, the Hong Kong market, is really standing out, both on the daily, as you can see here, and on the weekly, as you can see here with this tail. And so the chart that I want to discuss with you today is for the Hang Seng Index. And look at this here. This is the Hang Seng on a daily chart. Let me bring that to a monthly, just to give you some perspective. So this is the Hang Seng going back to mid-90s. And you can see how, you got the picture in your head probably of the S&P or other stock markets. We went to all-time highs a long time ago. Look at how or where the Hang Seng is, the Hong Kong market is, relative to its 2007 peak, but also to its 2017 peak, and more recently the 2019 and 2021 peaks. That is quite a difference. And the fact that Hong Kong is now popping up on the RRG is potentially interesting. Is a strong sign, because we're getting this observation, this signal, where the Hang Seng is trying to find a low, trying to find a bottom. So we see this 14,970, say 15,000 area in the Hang Seng that has served as a support area now for the second time in 2 years. And again, this is monthly, so let's go to weekly, and you can see it in a little bit more detail, and you can see how we have now left this falling trend channel, consolidated, and now last week and the week before we actually moved higher, and we moved out of that consolidation, kind of confirming the initial confirmation of a break. Obviously there is a lot more work to do. I do see a lot of resistance here at 22,500, but again, that's already a very decent rally. But if that happens, I think that we could be witnessing a very long-term turnaround for the Hong Kong market. It's not the US, but the world is a little bigger than the US, so it makes sense to watch across the border, across the oceans every now and then. And I think that right now the Hang Seng Index is a pretty good opportunity. Now, the way you can trade that in the US without having to go through all kinds of difficult things to trade overseas is pick an ETF. And the ETF for the Hong Kong markets, or one of the ETFs for the Hong Kong markets, is the iShares MSCI Hong Kong Index Fund. And it tracks the Hong Kong market. Now, one of the reasons that it's a very good way to translate a view on the Hang Seng Index into a position into your portfolio. But there's one thing that you need to keep in mind. This is the Hang Seng Index quoted in US dollars. So it is the Hang Seng Index times the Hong Kong dollar, US dollar foreign exchange rate. Now that doesn't fluctuate that much, but it does fluctuate. And the best way you can show that to you is, this is a weekly chart, and you can see how the Hang Seng here dipped to way below that previous low. If you remember the chart of the Hang Seng, so this is the November 4, 2022. We're approximately at the same level. And if I look at the ETF, this is November 4, 2022, you see that we're coming from a different level. So that difference in the chart is the exchange rate. Now, when you know that that is the case, there is no problem investing in it. You just have to realize that you will, when you buy the EWH ETF, you inherit a Hong Kong dollar exchange rate exposure, so to say. Anyway, for this week, take a look at Hong Kong. I think that Todd and I will address the international rotations this week in SIS and in our video. If not, here is the idea. Take it away. I hope you like it, and I'll see you again next week.
Hi, it's Todd from tradinganalysis.com. Thanks so much for watching. Listen, my team and I have so much to share with you in terms of our technical analysis, our fundamental analysis, portfolio management tactics, trading in and out, maybe options, sector rotation. Let us know what's most interesting to you. Maybe drop that in the comments section and we'll do our best to work it in. Also, consider clicking the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when we put out new videos. And finally, you can check us out at tradinganalysis.com if you'd like to see us manage our real portfolios in real time. Thanks again for watching.